The Three Questions. Once a Tsar thought that if he always knew the right time to start any business, if he knew who were the right people to pay heed to, and whom to avoid, and above all, if he always knew what was the most important thing to do, he would never fail in anything he might undertake. As this thought having occurred to him, he had it proclaimed throughout his tsardom that he would give a great reward to anyone who would teach him what was the right time for every action and who were the most necessary people, and how to avoid any mistakes about the most important thing to do. Learned men began coming to Tsar, and they all answered his questions differently. In reply to the first question, some said that to know the right time for every action, one must draw up in advance a table of days, months, and years, and must live strictly according to it. Only thus, said they, could everything be done at its proper time. Others declared it was impossible to decide beforehand the right time for every action, but that, not letting oneself be absorbed in idle pastimes, one should always attend to all that was going on, and then do what was most needful. Others, again, said that however attentive the Tsar might be to what was going on, it was impossible for one man to decide correctly the right time for every action, but that he should have a council of wise men who would help him fix the proper time for everything. But that again, others said, there are some things that could not wait to be laid before a council, but about which one had at once to decide whether to undertake them. But in order to decide that, one must know beforehand that was going to happen. It is only wolves who know that, and therefore, in order to know the right time for every action, one must consult wolves. The answers to the second question are just as different. Some say that the people that are most needed were his counselors, others the rats, others the doctors, while some said the warriors were the most necessary. To the third question, what was the most important vocation, some replied that the most important thing in the world was science. Others said it was skill in warfare, and others again that it was the worship of the gods. All the answers being different, the Tsar agreed with none of them, and gave the reward to none. But still wishing to find the right answers to his questions, he decided to ask a hermit, who was praised for his wisdom. The hermit lived in a wood he never went out of, and he received none but common folk. So the Tsar put on simple clothes, and before reaching the hermit's cell, dismounted from his horse. Leaving his squires behind, he went on alone. When the Tsar approached, the hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. Seeing the Tsar, he greeted him, and went on digging. The hermit was frail and weak, and each time he stuck his spade into the ground and turned a little earth, he panted. The Tsar went up to him and said, I have come to you, wise hermit, to ask you to answer 3 questions. What time must I remember about, so I wouldn't miss it and repent later? Who are the people I must need, and to whom should I, therefore, pay more attention than to the rest? And what vocations are the most important? So which one out of all of them I must put above all else? The hermit listened to the Tsar, but answered nothing, just spat on his hand and recommenced digging. You are tired, said the Tsar. Let me take the spade and work a while for you. Thanks, said the hermit, and giving the spade to the Tsar, he sat down on the ground. When he had dug 2 beds, the Tsar stopped and repeated his questions. The hermit again gave no answer, but rose, stretched out his hand for the spade and said, "Now rest a while and let me work a bit." But the Tsar did not give him the spade and continued to dig. 1 hour passed and another. The sun began to sink behind the trees, and the Tsar at last stuck the spade into the ground and said, "I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my questions. If you can give me none, tell me so, and I will return home." "Here comes someone running," said the hermit. "Let us see who it is." The Tsar turned around and saw a bearded man come running out of the woods. The man held his hands pressed against his stomach, and blood was flowing from under them. When he reached the Tsar, he fell fainting on the ground, moaning feebly. The Tsar and the hermit unfastened the man's clothing. There was a large wound in his stomach. The Tsar washed it as best as he could, and bandaged it with his handkerchief and with a towel the hermit had. But the blood would not stop flowing, and the Tsar again and again removed the bandage soaked with warm blood, and washed and rebandaged the wound. When at last the blood ceased flowing, the man revived and asked for something to drink. The Tsar brought fresh water and gave it to him. Meanwhile, the sun had set, and it had become cool. So the Tsar, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. Lying on the bed, the man closed his eyes and was quiet. But the Tsar was so tired from his walk and from the work he had done that he crouched down on the threshold and also fell asleep, so soundly that he slept throughout the short summer night. When he awoke in the morning, it was long before he could remember where he was, or who was the strange bearded man lying on the bed and gazing intently at him with shining eyes. "Forgive me," said the bearded man in a weak voice when he saw that Tsar was awake and was looking at him. "I do not know you. I have nothing to forgive you for," said the Tsar. "You do not know me, but I know you. I am that enemy of yours who swore to revenge himself on you, because you executed my brother and seized my property. I knew you had gone alone to see the hermit, and I resolved to kill you on your way back. But the day passed, and you did not return. I came out from my ambush to find you, and came upon your squires, and they recognized me, attacked and wounded me. I escaped from them, but should have bled to death had you not dressed my wound. I wished to kill you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live, and if you wish it, I will serve you as your most faithful slave, and will bid my sons to do the same. Forgive me." The Tsar was very glad to have made peace with his enemy so easily, and he not only forgave him, but said he would send his servants and his own physician to attend him, and promised to restore his property. Having taken leave of the wounded man, the Tsar went out onto the porch and looked around for the hermit. Before going away, he wished once more to beg for an answer to the questions he had put. The hermit was outside on his knees, sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The Tsar approached him and said, "For the last time, I pray you to answer my questions, wise man." "You have been answered," said the hermit, still crouching on his thin legs and looking up at the Tsar, who stood before him. "How answered? What do you mean?" asked the Tsar. "Do you not see?" replied the hermit. You had not pitied my weakness yesterday, and had not dug this bed for me, but had gone back alone, that lad would have attacked you, and you would have repented of not having stayed with me. So the most genuine time was when you were digging the beds, and I was the most important man, and to do me good was your most important job. Afterwards, when that lad ran to us, the most genuine time was when you were attending to him. For if you had not bound up his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important man, and what you did for him was your most important job. Remember, there is only one time that is important now, because it is the only time when we have power over ourselves. The most necessary person is the one with whom you are, for no man knows whether he will ever have dealings with anyone else. And the most important vocation is to do that person good, because for that purpose alone was the man sent into this life.